Hi everyone, my name is Wang. Today I'm going to talk about an ELF program which stands for English as a Lingua Franca for Japanese students in Taiwan. Here is the outline for today. First, I will introduce the background of this research and go over research purposes and questions. Then I'm going to point out some important studies. Research methodology part will include the instruments I use in this study, and I will talk about how data is analyzed and the results. Finally, I will conclude by indicating some pedagogical implications. According to a model of the three concentric circles of English from Cattles, English is served as the first language in native-speaking countries such as the United Kingdom, United States, and Australia, which represents the inner circle. On the other hand, the outer circle consists of countries where English is an official language, including Singapore, India, and Zambia. In the expanding circle, English is used for international and intercultural communication in China, Egypt, and Vietnam, etc. The non-native English speaker and non-native English speaker communication is just accepted by some EFL teachers these days, and it is also an applicable way for future development to the non-native English-speaking country like Japan. It is believed that the benefits of study abroad can be profound. Some studies show that the study abroad programs effectively help improve students' language proficiency, while the long-term program has enduring effects on language outcomes than the short-term. Currently, more universities in Taiwan have promoted short-term study programs, and more students prefer to apply for a shorter one as well. Since compared with longer programs, they are more affordable and have time flexibility for those who are not able to stay abroad for a longer duration. That is why this study aims to evaluate the program effectiveness through implementing a variety of research methods in the short-term study program for Japanese students in Taiwan. Feedbacks and suggestions received from both the students and professors will be sorted out for coordinating the next program. Here are the three research questions. The first question is, are there any changes in students' perceptions toward the effectiveness of the ELF program? For example, English, Mandarin, and Cultural Study program. The second question is, what are instructors' perceptions toward the effectiveness of the ELF program? And the final question, which aspect of the ELF program can be improved for a new version of the future similar program? The global demand for learning English has increased sharply by the 1950s. With the importance of English as an international medium of communication, people have gradually focused on a specialized knowledge and usage of English. So many intensive programs were offered at that time for a variety of purposes, such as different fields of profession and job issues to non-native speakers under the condition that English was taught as a foreign language. Nuna mentioned that the course objectives and course contents are closely linked and inseparable. In order to achieve course objectives, the teachers have to plan applicable classroom activities and select suitable materials for teaching under the consideration of teaching effectiveness. What teachers expect students to learn should be taught in classes. The purposes of the evaluation are to assess proficiency and achievement through tests or portfolio and evaluate the course itself based on students' and teachers' feedback. In order to accommodate learners, interviews, surveys, and questionnaires can be different ways of evaluating their performance at the end of each study for advancing programs. When a course is ongoing, in order to modify courses and provide more beneficial effects to students, we will use the formative evaluation. After students take the course, teachers will use summative evaluation to assess its overall effectiveness and contribute to continuous improvement in the future. As for the teaching effectiveness, it is assessed based on student productivity with different instruments. It is outcomes-based, and it succeeds in enhancing student learning. When talking about the program and curriculum effectiveness, since the evaluation is used to promote and improve the effectiveness of the program is assessed with the purpose of measuring the effects of a program against the goals it set out and improving future programming. The result collected through the evaluation is used to be compared with the standard, which was already set, and further conclude the outcomes of the program to see whether students have made progress or not. One of the most important issues in teaching besides students' learning is to help them put those theories into practice. For example, Prabhu suggested that teachers provide activities that require learners to complete real tasks by really using the acquired knowledge and processing their thoughts. On top of that, to learn to use languages in real life with some necessary skills is also a must. Another element in learning language that needs to be mentioned is culture. It has become one of the foci in the courses now because teachers believe culture and language are inseparable. Incorporating cultural awareness into classroom curriculum can be helpful in fostering daily interactions. The instructors from the Department of English at the University of Science and Technology in southern Taiwan conducted this short-term ELF program. The purpose of the program is to incorporate the concept of EFL learning into courses for students. The duration of the ELF program was 9 days from August 25th to September 2nd, 2016. It was composed of various themes related to language and cultural experiences. The participants of the study are 11 Japanese female students from a private women's college, and they are either freshmen or sophomore from the Department of International Communication. They have learned English as a foreign language and studied English for at least 7 years. Besides that, 14 Taiwanese students from different departments volunteered to join the program. However, they are excluded from the study because they are composed of both English majors and non-English majors and will view the program from different perspectives due to the differences between their language proficiency levels. In addition, 4 instructors from the Department of English were considered as teacher participants as well. They taught topical sessions by using English. Among the teachers, 1 is American, and 2 of the Taiwanese also played the role of mentors, coordinating and running the whole program. Not only the professor from Taiwan's side joined the study, but also the 2 Japanese professors provided some advice as observers. So in total, 17 participants were in the study. The data were collected through questionnaire and interviews to provide qualitative descriptions of reflections from the respondents' perspectives. The study used 4 different instruments: pre-survey, post-survey, final evaluation, and post-program interview to get the participants' perceptions and attitudes toward teaching effectiveness of the program. The pre-survey was given on the first day when the participants arrived in Taiwan for comparing the changes in Japanese students' thoughts before and after their participation in the ELF program. They were asked on their expectations for the program primarily. All of the question items were written in English and scored on a 5-point Likert scale, from strongly disagree to strongly agree. The design of the questionnaire was divided into 3 parts: motivation, English as a foreign language, course design, and arrangement. And the respondents were required to answer 16 closed-ended and 2 open-ended questions in 30 minutes. The post-survey was distributed on the last day of the program to see if the respondents had different comments after experiencing all the courses and contents of the ELF program. Almost all of the questions in the pre-survey and post-survey are designed for the researcher to make an obvious comparison, but there are still a few differences on descriptions. As for the post-survey and final evaluation, they were given within time indication of 1 hour for all the questions. The objective of the final evaluation for the Japanese students to do with the post-survey is to measure teaching effectiveness and provide insights for course design as reported by the students' feedback. The questionnaire also used 5-point Likert scale to ask satisfaction about courses offered. It contained 2 sections, including 15 general questions and 5 open-answer questions for them to specifically indicate the appropriateness of instructions given by professors in the program. The post-program interview is composed of 4 separate sections with different groups of interviewees. It is conducted to figure out perceived factors and perceptions for the future development of the program. Japanese students and professors were engaged in the interview at the end of the program, while Taiwanese instructors had interviews with the researcher 1 week after the end of the program. Except for the professors from both sides, all of the participants were grouped into 3 to 5 people to attend the interviews. For each section, it took about 20 to 30 minutes. The first research question is about the effectiveness of the ELF program by monitoring changing attitudes of the participants. The results were concluded through pre-survey, post-survey, final evaluation, and post-program interview. The comparison of pre-survey and post-survey is shown in this table to outline the differences in the students' perceptions. Regarding the overall effectiveness, the ELF program seems to have met the students' expectations. For example, the rating of the post-survey increased 0.01, especially on the aspect of motivation. Through the actual experiences of communicating in English with other non-native speakers, the participants were motivated to learn and understand more about authentic English usage. However, in the aspect of course design, it is apparent that there's room for improvement. According to the students' opinions from the interview, the intensive schedule, long class time, and not enough chances to talk to someone other than their group members were the main issues to be solved. This question investigated how the professors from Japan and Taiwan thought about the Japanese students' performance and the teaching effectiveness of the program. The findings were concluded from the post-program interview. The professors from both sides feel the program positively effective since the students were fully engaged in classes and enthusiastic about learning new knowledge. The Japanese professors highly value the interactive activity in both English Workshop 1 and 3 because the students were able to speak English without hesitation and use English in a practical way. However, all the Japanese and Taiwanese professors agreed that the students' learning outcomes were relatively weak due to the language proficiency gap. This is also why the Taiwanese instructors sometimes feel their instructions were not that workable at the same time. The last question asks which aspect of the course design and program arrangement could be improved for the next program. The data was collected from the post-survey, final evaluation, and post-program interview. The professors from both sides gave some suggestions to the future program. Based on the Japanese professors' perceptions, they thought all the students could work together on projects, experience local life more and deeply, and learn to use English language in authentic context. They also pointed out the cultural comparison between Japan and Taiwan could be included in the class of Cousins and Festival in Taiwan to provide the students with more opportunities to think and present. From the Taiwanese professors' perspective, some adjustments should be made from arranging courses and the program. For example, they should provide more Chinese courses according to the Japanese students' needs. Besides that, they should not only offer mixed-level English courses to support different difficulty levels, but also integrate the courses in the program to meet the same objectives. They also suggested that the Japanese and Taiwanese students could interact with each other before the program through social media to get used to communicating in English. This study provides application for the design and implementation of short-term study programs. It suggests program organizers to develop courses and activities with a balanced core of language learning and culture experiencing. The importance of the interaction between each other is also highlighted in the program. It is considered that there should be a language proficiency standard for the participants from both Japan and Taiwan to ensure they have basic communication skills in English language. Results from this study offer insights into course and program effectiveness through the students' experiences and the professors' suggestions. They give the coordinators new perspective to examine the program design and make some modification for future needs. Thank you for your attention.